I have the Jacob & Co. Epic X in front of the camera today, and I'm really excited about this presentation. I have never handled a Jacob & Co. before. This is my first experience with the brand, and I'm just excited to get into this and share my opinion with you. Now, this retails for $22,000, and honestly, I was a little surprised to learn that the entry price into Jacob & Co. was that low. And I say that comparatively speaking. I'm not trying to say that 22K is an affordable watch. Certainly not. But most watch collectors, including myself, we know Jacob & Co. for their high-end, gem set, precious metal pieces, extremely exclusive or limited pieces, complicated pieces, and we're not necessarily familiar with this entry-level Epic X watch. And I'd like to just pose the question here: how good is this quote unquote entry level Jacob & Co.? How much watch do you get for your money? I'll share my own opinion here, and I'd love your opinion in the comments below. Now, before I share my first impression, I'd like to shout out Exquisite Timepieces. They're a family-owned brick-and-mortar AD in Florida. They carry over 60 brands. They lent in this high horology piece, this very interesting and rare Epic X. If you are shopping any Jacob & Co. or other high-end brand, definitely check out Exquisite. I highly recommend them, and I'll link them below. Now, let's get to that first impression. I think there is a lot to like, and there is some to dislike about this watch. The titanium case is finished very well. There's obviously a bold, interesting design, an X-themed design you can see from one lug tip to the opposite lug tip, kind of forms an X or a member of the X form. So this kind of denotes a mysterious or unknown aspect, right? Planet X. X is very much the central focus of the overall design. And it does not feel industrial. It doesn't feel toolish like some open work RM or Hublot can sometimes come across. There's a lot of brushing, polishing, and blasted finishes. There are a lot of surfaces and angles to reflect light, and this does have quite a bit of presence. Now, this presence is accentuated with the saturated use of color. Jacob & Co. has used orange on this one, but they do have multiple other options, different colors available, and I think that consumer choice is a good thing. Now, this obviously has an open work dial or a skeletonized movement, and the movement is based on a Concepto caliber. The movement does have good finishing. It does have nice attention to detail. There are linear bridges that visually tie in with this X-themed case shape, and I think specifically the edges stand out on this case, and you can see the similar chamfer lines found on these linear bridges. I like the fact that there are various shades of gray and gilt tone used throughout the caliber and how that ties into the orange color. The overall architecture does feel organized, and I think that's an underrated aspect of open work dials. Sometimes they just feel a little disjointed, a little hodgepodge, but this one feels balanced. You look north to south, and you see a large mainspring barrel at the top. Going down, you see the hand stack, and then going down, you see the balance. There's a gear train on the left and the company branding to the right. So yes, very organized, very balanced, very beautiful, nice details. I like the variable inertia regulation within the balance, and I like how the mainspring could be used as a quasi type of PR indicator just by looking and gauging how tight the mainspring is wound to see when you need to wind this movement again. Now note that this is time only. There's no seconds, there's no date, there's nothing but hours and minutes. The overall design is full of lines, surfaces, patterns, various finishes. They reflect light at different angles. This paired with the open style dial and the bold orange color makes for a recipe of a very interesting visually watch. Many find that aspect important when you're spending over 5 figures on a design. You want people to notice it, and you want to notice it as you're going about your daily activities. so you can appreciate the beauty and the art. Now, lastly, this crystal has impeccable ARC coatings, and I find this such a positive difference in a watch. With my own biased experience, I shrugged off my Vacheron Constantin Overseas not having ARC. But you know what? ARC makes a big difference when it's applied properly. You see better clarity, crispness on the dial, and I think that's a good thing. Now, what do I not like about this watch? It really comes down to one thing. I think the rubber strap is thin and it feels kind of cheap. I like the open cells. I like the color. I like the overall look, but this kind of feels like a $40 strap. And I think you never want to spend this amount on a watch and feel like you need to upgrade this strap. And one could also argue that when you spend $20,000 on a watch and you're not buying precious metal, you should expect a well-made bracelet option. And I think that this would benefit from that option. Now, I love the case. I love the movement. I love the overall style. I absolutely love the presence. But this strap, the lack of a bracelet option, it leaves me feeling like I missed out on something. Now, let me end with one thought here. And again, share your opinions below. But often us watch collectors feel that we need to maximize the value for money feel in our watch purchases. We seek good specs, good features relative to the retail price, and we give ourselves bonus points for finding a good deal, whether that's new or used. And let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with this. In fact, I think it is indicative of a savvy, smart buyer. But sometimes some of us take that to the extreme and we keep ourselves from purchases that might be lacking in one or two areas because we want perfection. But on the whole, the watch has a great total sum. There is the tendency to start to equate watches to being only worth the sum of their specs, and we disregard other important factors. And there may be some of you watching this that go, no freaking way would I ever buy that watch, Bruce. It doesn't even have a date. My Seiko has a day and a date. If I had $22K to spend on a watch, it better have a moon phase chronograph, day date, and PR indicator. It better have some precious metal, or it better have the name Rolex on the dial. Or better yet, I am buying a Grand Seiko and I'm putting the rest of that budget into a new car. And you know what? If that is where you are at in your collecting journey, I think that's great. I think we have all been there or are there or want to be there at some point in our collecting journey. And I am not meaning to criticize your standpoint, but what I am wanting to do is to shine a little light on the fact that people can find happiness. They can and should find validity regardless of perceived value for money in a watch purchase. Now, I might be bothered by the strap, but the average person of wealth most likely does not care about this orange rubber strap or the lack of an X-themed bracelet. That's just me. The person shopping this watch likely already has multiple Rolex, Patek, JLC, IWC, Panerai, Blancpain, just like I have multiple Seiko, Christopher Ward, Tudor, or Rolex in my own watch rotation. The type of people shopping this Jacob & Co., I think that they are looking for the X factor in a watch and not necessarily the top specs at $20K. But what's my final opinion? I think this is a sick watch with real presence. It has noticeable quality, and there is one area that could be improved, in my opinion. Now, if I regularly was a buyer at this price segment, this is absolutely one that I could see myself enjoying on a regular basis. I am actually impressed with Jacob & Co.'s entry-level offering. I think this hits in more areas than it misses. I'm a fan. Thank you again to Exquisite Timepieces for lending in this uncommon watch for me to feature and review. Again, if you're shopping Jacob & Co. or any other watch brand, I recommend this family-owned AD, and a link will be below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I post videos like this every few days. I would love to continue to grow and improve as a channel, so your support is crucial. Thank you.